This is a review of our Keystone Cougar 29RLPWE travel trailer. We'll be covering the reasons for selecting this model, the purchase process, our thoughts on the floor plan, quality, and customer support. We'll also be touching on the customizations we have done and our suggestions to Keystone for enhanced customer satisfaction. Stay tuned. Exactly 9 years ago, we bought our first travel trailer. We loved our Forest River Cherokee 264L, but as it aged, so did we. And although nothing major ever went wrong, little things were starting to break, and it was getting too difficult to keep up with maintenance. We were also getting concerned about the 10-year rule, so we decided it was time to get a new version of the trailer we had grown to love. I'll post a link to the review of that trailer, or you can just search around on my page for this logo. So we pulled the trigger and purchased a Keystone Cougar half-ton model 29RLPWE and took delivery in December of 2024. This video will be a bit longer than a simple review, so I wanted to get this out of the way. No teasers, waiting till the end of the video, although you may hear a few complaints in this video. Overall, we're extremely happy with both the trailer and the experience at the dealer. The good and bad things about this trailer. The good is that it has a great floor plan, half-ton towable, incredible kitchen storage, hidden pantry storage, king bed, refrigerator, and theater seating. The not so good things: Keystone customer support, lack of shelving and cabinets, bed access, entertainment system, 50-amp receptacle location, bathroom exhaust fan, and lack of bedroom fan. I'll go into detail on these things later, but I wanted to give you the summary up front. A few more details about why we decided to get a new travel trailer. The hope was that we could wait 5 more years for my retirement, when we could downsize our home and upgrade to a big fifth wheel, a Class A, or maybe even a Super C. Unfortunately, as our trailer aged, we used it less and less and decided we just had to refresh our trailer for use with our existing half-ton pickup. Why did we choose this model? We both knew we wanted a rear living model again, but there were things we hoped would improve our enjoyment over the last trailer. I was initially hooked on the 2024 Cougar 29RLPWE because I didn't want to upgrade my truck. It had an outdoor kitchen, bigger waste tanks, a bathroom, bedroom, closet slide, and auto levelers. I did an extensive amount of research on rear living models of many brands, and when the 2024 models took a serious price drop, I decided we're going to buy a new trailer. We had a pretty bad sales experience on our last trailer with a national chain, you know, the ones with the big blue sign. So I decided I was going to buy from a local dealer. Curtis Trailers in Portland has a huge inventory and moves a lot of Keystone product through their dealership, so I was pretty sure this is where we were going to buy. I swore I was not going to look at new models. They had 47 2024 Cougars in inventory, and I was sure I could get a great deal. They didn't even show the 2025 model at the fall RV show, so I knew they were motivated and had a lot of room for discounts. Also, I didn't think I wanted to be an early adopter of a new floor plan, and the 2025 models are at their highest price point. However, as we were looking at the 2024 models on their lot, my wife wandered over to the 2025 29RLPWE, and she just fell in love with it. I told the salesman I wouldn't even go in a 2025, but my wife was so giddy with excitement over this model, I had to entertain the option. Having already secretly researched this model in depth, because at the RV show I was told by a salesman that they will discontinue the other rear living models and shift to the RLP floor plan. It didn't take long for me to decide to proceed. The only thing I had to really decide was to pick the unit with auto levelers or the one with the solar plus inverter package. They didn't have one with both. I reluctantly opted to go with the one without auto levelers. I think I made the right decision. However, I do wish there had been an option with both. I think I would have paid the extra. We were quite happy with Curtis Trailers in Portland, Oregon. The salesman understood my time was worth something and cut right to the chase. We struck a deal in about 10 minutes that included the trade-in, and they were also able to get me better financing than originally stated. The service department was actually excellent. As a contrast to my previous RV buying experience, they got me right in, got factory approvals, and made the repairs in just days. When I'm ready to retire and buy a fifth wheel, this is likely where I will go. Now that we have the selection and purchase process out of the way, let's talk about the trailer. The meaning of the 29RLPWE model number is RL for rear living, P for pantry, WE is Western Edition, meaning that it is manufactured in Pendleton, Oregon, and I'm unsure the meaning for the 29, but presumably it's the box size. However, the total length is 33.5 feet. Okay, time for the elephant in the room. Is it really half-ton towable? The answer is yes and no. It should not be assumed that any half-ton truck is suitable. Total trailer weight with a generous cargo rating of 1,770 pounds is 9,500 pounds, which is not a huge concern. Most pickups can manage at least 9,300 pounds as long as they're configured for trailering as opposed to off-roading or light duty. However, this trailer is quite nose heavy at 960 pounds. This will burden the rear axle of even the most stout half-ton pickups. You could buy a brand new Silverado 1500, but if not configured with a max trailering package would be completely insufficient, as in this example where the max hitch weight is 910 pounds. On the trailer side, there is plenty of capacity for payload. The axles can handle 4,400 pounds each, and with our full camping load and about 20 gallons of water, we were at 7,450 pounds on the axles. I wouldn't run with full tanks, but even with the fresh tank full, you will still have more than 700 pounds available for groceries, clothing, and other supplies. Additionally, the brakes and suspension on this trailer are awesome to help manage the weight. I applaud Keystone for making ABS, 10-ply tires, and the Road Armor Equalizer standard on all Cougar travel trailers. Cougar half-ton trailers for 2025 all include most of the packages listed as options on the build sheets. There's no option to delete some of them, such as climate guard, fireplace, second awning, 50 amp service, 12 volt refrigerator, innovation package, on-demand water heater, and the towing with confidence package. The option decisions really come with the solar packages, auto leveler, dual pane frameless windows, slide toppers, freestanding table, second air conditioner, and battery. Now for the reason we selected this model, the floor plan. This trailer is really geared toward couples with emphasis on entertaining and cooking. The dual slide configuration makes for a large living area, kitchen, and pantry. This is well suited for day and dinner visits from friends or family, and possibly overnight guests who can sleep on the trifold couch. Small children can sleep in the dinette if the freestanding table and chair option is not selected. The living area is comfortable and roomy. Theater-style recliners in the passenger slide come with lighted cup holders, massager, and seat heater. The reclining function is manual, which is good since its power source is not on an inverted outlet. A trifold couch and built-in end tables in the rear of the unit is comfortable for seating and folds out to be a short, full bed. To be honest, it is no more comfortable than previous models, and a mattress topper is recommended. Shore power outlets are available on each side of the couch and behind the theater seating. However, they are not on inverted outlets. Overhead storage above the couch is fairly standard, but Keystone installed struts, which is greatly appreciated. The glass panels also add a bit of tasteful decorum. Living area storage behind the entertainment center is an incredible use of space. It is called a pantry, but because there's so much kitchen storage, it's best used as a supply closet. It is a huge closet with a perfect complement of shelves and a very cool broom closet area. There is a power receptacle in the area which allows for charging a vacuum cleaner and other things. Unfortunately, it is not on an inverted circuit, so it'll only work on shore power. The entertainment center is average. The 40-inch LED TV is well mounted and of fairly good quality. Online specifications for the sound system state that it's an AM, FM, CD, DVD, MP3, and Bluetooth player. But it actually came with a Furrion speaker bar that doesn't have any kind of disc player at all. It is also disappointing that the speaker bar does not have an optical input. It would be nice to be able to connect the TV optical output to the rear of the speaker bar. The only other option is Bluetooth, and the TV needs to be changed to that audio mode every time it powers up. There are no line outputs on the TV, so no connection can be made to the aux input of the speaker bar. The trailer came equipped with a WineGuard Air 360 Plus antenna, which actually works very well for TV signals. I'm unsure how to use the satellite pass-through system or how to upgrade it as an internet gateway, so no comment on that. Kitchen storage is incredible with this model. The kitchen island has a massive sink, 3 drawers, and under-sink storage sufficient for a large trash can as well as a laundry hamper. There's plenty of counter space on each side of the Furrion stove. The control knobs have those silly glow rings, but it is nice to know if you left a burner on or bumped a knob. I do wish Furrion would come up with a better ignition system for the oven. It goes largely unused because of the difficulty lighting the pilot. A non-inverter receptacle is available on each side of the cooktop for items such as a toaster or can opener. The microwave is a Furrion 0.9 cubic foot regular microwave, but with some modification, a Furrion 0.9 convection/air fryer microwave can be installed. Cabinets in the cooking area are large, but unfortunately do not have shelves, so some personalization is likely going to be needed to make them useful. Cabinets in the kitchen pantry area are roomy, but as with the cooking area, are lacking enough shelves. There is a coffee bar. This is one of my favorite areas. It allows for the convenient placement of a coffee maker, ice maker, blender, water purification system, or whatever suits your needs. The cabinet in the bar area is well suited for liquor and other coffee supplies. The refrigerator is 12 volts. It's much larger than our old travel trailer, but not quite residential size. It is good enough for a week for 2 people. All in all, the kitchen is awesome. You don't even need to use the hidden pantry for kitchen items because there's so much space. You do have to put some shelves in to make it usable, but it's just something you have to do. The standard dinette is similar to most trailers, however, it comes with a wall-mounted table. The table has a convenient strut system to lower the table into a children's bed configuration, but it's not easily removable and does not feel very robust. I fear it's going to be the first thing to break, but hopefully I am wrong. There's only one shore power outlet in the entire slide, and it's not conveniently located for the dinette. A multi-socket extension cord will be needed to power laptops and battery chargers in the dinette area. I do find the dinette is the best place to store large items like grills, camp chairs, awnings, mats, and other larger camp needs. Entry into the bathroom is through a sliding door which is not lockable. The bathroom is not huge and has very little storage, but is sufficient for a couple. Under-sink storage is limited, but stacking storage bins make it more useful than just for a small trash can. I find it best to place a foot-operated trash can next to the toilet and save the under-sink storage for other items. There is very limited space to hang towels and no in-bathroom area to store clean towels. The shower is roomy and well lit. However, the roll-up style shower door is a bit difficult to open. The bathroom is not directly accessible from the bedroom as it was with previous rear living models that had the closet slide. The exhaust fan is a bit disappointing. It has a little tiny fan and does not automatically turn off when closing the lid. I really think Keystone made a mistake here. All that said, I think the space given to the kitchen area was the correct choice. There is a full frame door to the bedroom, not a slide with a huge gap like on many travel trailers. The RV King bed is 70 inches by 80 inches, which is great for a travel trailer. It does make it a bit difficult to navigate around the bed, but I think Keystone made the correct choice here. There's an inverted outlet, USB charging port, a small drawer, and standard closet space on both sides of the bed, but it also has a great sized wardrobe closet with 2 very large drawers, which makes this a quite comfortable bedroom. There is some underbed storage which we use for linens. The bed lift does have installed struts. There are 2 drawers under the bed which we use for bathroom and beach towels. Although less space than previous models, I applaud Keystone for giving the extra space to the pass-through storage. On the negative side, rather than installing a ceiling fan, Keystone simply installed a 14-inch vent without a fan. It requires standing on the bed to open. I find this a bit disappointing. I understand the choice to let the owners decide if they want a fan or an air conditioner, but it's basically useless as installed. On the plus side, although not directly wired for air conditioning or DC fan at the vent opening, there is a nearby prep outlet with both. The bedroom is wired for a wall-mounted TV, but there's no sticker saying there is a backer. Keystone customer support was unwilling to research and determine if there even is a backer. We used the bathroom medicine cabinet as a backer on the installation of our TV. I've seen vendor videos for the non-Western editions where the TV prep outlet and backer is on the exterior wall. The 30,000 BTU furnace is not real noisy, which is good, but it doesn't seem well balanced. The bathroom gets hurricane force winds, but barely any flow at the rear of the trailer. What is called a fireplace is provided under the TV, but is actually just a 5500 BTU space heater, which helps keep the rear of the unit warm. However, I'm not fond of the fake fire display. We battle tested this unit at air temperatures below freezing, and we were able to stay warm with just the furnace, but it needed to run quite often. Overall, with Climate Guard, I think you can stay warm in cold temperatures, and theoretically the 12-volt heating pads on all the holding tanks can keep the water system from freezing. However, with all the windows and the 2 slides, it's not ideal for long-term winter camping, especially off-grid. The propane costs and battery drain from the fan and tank heaters would be significant. The Blade Pure 15K air conditioning is quieter than a Dometic solution, but I'm not certain the second AC in the bedroom won't be needed. The main unit is ducted to the bedrooms, so you can get air in the bedroom even if you don't add the optional second AC. Keystone seems to only provide the Girard tankless on-demand water heater on the Cougar half-ton series, which may or may not be a benefit. It comes with a bit of a learning curve and has marginal performance when using city water connections. The system works quite well on the internal pump, but it's pretty noisy. However, on city water in colder temperatures, it can't achieve the target temperature. I tried to adjust the water pressure regulator and remove the inline filter, but it never reached target temperature. I assume nothing is broken. This is just something that needs to be resolved with learning how to use the system. The living and dining areas have dimmer switches that are really cool. Unfortunately, there is no dimmer in the bedroom. The entry light has an option for motion detection, which is pretty annoying when you're in the trailer. We mostly leave it off since the main light switch is right inside the door. Outdoor lighting is limited to an awning light strip, which is not very bright and just enough to annoy the neighbors. And since there's no amber porch light, we have to leave the awning lights on when we leave. The accent lighting under the dinette and recliners is quite useful as night lights, as well as being aesthetically pleasing. Not all of the outlets in the trailer are connected to the inverter. The most disappointing is that the outlets near the couch, recliners, and dinette are shore power only. These are the areas I would expect to use my laptop, computer, and other electronics. Another drawback is the outlets near the stove. We can't even operate the can opener or toaster on the inverter. On a positive note, the bar area is connected so we can make coffee and ice. Of course, the whole bedroom and the living area entertainment center is on the inverter. Keystone doesn't appear to offer the in-command system on the 2025 Cougar half-ton travel trailers, so the control panel is comprised of physical switches and indicators. The half-ton series now comes with a 50 amp power port, but it is all the way to the rear. If you've never had 50 amp service, it's good to know that the power cord is very bulky. It's difficult to manage, especially if you need 30 feet to get to the power pole at the front of the trailer. We opted for the SolarFlex Discover 440i solar package, which includes two 220 watt panels, 2000 watt inverter, 30 amp charge controller, and a shunt for measuring current drop. The batteries are dealer-installed 6-volt deep cycle and not the 100-amp Dragonfly lithium-ion batteries, but this is sufficient for our needs. However, we would never go without an inverter in the future. It saved our trip when an RV park had a power outage. There is a nice battery box, battery cutoff switch, and inverter switch in the A-frame area. The charge controller, shunt, and inverter are all nicely installed in the pass-through storage. I'm very happy with the installation. This model has 2 opposing slides. The driver's side has the kitchen and pantry, passenger side has the theater seating and dinette. Both are AccuSlide cable style slides, which I've heard are not as desirable as the rack and pinion style. One thing to note with cable slides is that if manual retraction is necessary, the fascia panel must be removed and will likely cause some damage. I did opt for the extended warranty solely due to my concerns about this slide system. I figure one incident would likely justify the cost of the warranty. It should be noted that you cannot enter the rear of the unit with both slides retracted. Additionally, you cannot open the refrigerator without opening the driver's side slide at least 6 inches. Standard windows are tinted, but frame style, and either open horizontally or vertically depending on which window. Every window has the dark roller shades, which from the outside looks like no lights are on. There is an option for the dual frameless windows. I have no experience with this style, so I can't comment. The number of windows is the main reason we prefer the rear living model, even though it makes the trailer less resilient to extreme weather. There's only one entry door. I always wished I had a door with a window on my previous trailer. However, now that we have one, the shade just stays closed because there's no access through the screen door to open or close the shade. The entry uses the new solid step system. I'm still not sure if I prefer this over the old fold-up style steps. The stairs bring in water or gravel that needs to be wiped up since the stairs are stored inside the trailer. The pass-through storage bay is wonderful. Due to the drop frame design, it is much larger than the old travel trailers. It's more like a fifth wheel bay. It is great that the slam hatch is the same size on both sides. Previously, the driver's side hatch was almost useless because it was so small. Another feature that makes it feel more like a fifth wheel is the wet bay with winterizing valves and ports. Keystone really did a great job carpeting the walls and putting in a nice floor, as well as adding a light, shore power, USB charging ports, and the bay is so large you can easily crawl inside to work on the solar system, inverter, or other electrical connections. The only drawback is that the rain gutters pour right on the hatch door when they are open, and the slam latches fill up with water. This is quite inconvenient when hitching and unhitching during rain. I did already need to replace a lock cylinder after just 6 months, likely due to water damage. There are two Lippert Solera 3000 full-size awnings on the passenger side. The awnings cover the entry, but there is a gap just rear of the entry door. The forward awning does not go far enough forward to cover the hatch door. I think I prefer the Dinette power awning. The Solera awnings require bending an adjustment arm to angle the awning, and if you roll them too far out, they'll actually start winding up backwards. My feeling is that they will not hold up to wind as well as the Dinette awning. There are two gray tanks, one for the galley and one for the bathroom. The bathroom gray and black tanks share one discharge port, and the galley has its own. After inspecting, I don't see any reason they couldn't have been combined. There are heating pads on all the tanks and are controlled by switches inside the trailer. The tanks are good size, 54 gallons for fresh water, 38 each on the gray tanks, and a 38-gallon black tank. The roof is very curved. I'm assuming this helps keep it from having standing water, but makes walking on it a bit precarious. There is a roof ladder on the rear of the unit, but if you're older like us, you may want a small step stool to get up onto the ladder. If you do get the Discover solar package, you'll find getting past the panels to be a bit tight, but it's possible. There is a 2-inch receiver at the rear of the unit. This is intended for up to 300 pounds of cargo and not meant for towing. We use this for a bike rack, but it seems like it's usable for a tray, for hauling wood, a big cooler. The spare tire does hinder the options a bit. The trailer came standard with two 30-pound propane tanks, which is a great upgrade from the 20-pound tanks with our old trailer. It really makes a difference in the cold climates. I was, however, surprised to learn that there is no quick connect for grills or fire ring. Well, that about does it for the description of the trailer. We'll move on to the modifications we made, and then we'll wrap it up with closing comments. I'm not going to get into the specifics of the upgrades in this video. If there's interest, I will create another video explaining the upgrades in detail. We added shelving to most of the kitchen cabinets since they were basically just big openings. The hidden pantry needed a way to hold brooms and a vacuum in place, so I added mounts. I changed out the Furrion microwave with a convection air fryer model. This was a good addition. Coat and hat hooks throughout the trailer, as well as key hooks, are more beneficial than you might think. A place to store shoes always seems to be an issue in trailers. These door-hanging style holders turned out to be perfect. We added a small bedroom TV, which turned out to be a real fiasco. The bathroom fan was replaced with a remote control version so my wife could operate it. We opted for a bedroom fan rather than the second AC. I think this was the right choice, but the jury is still out on this one. The entertainment center had no DVD, CD, or Blu-ray player. We installed a surface-mounted player which has been perfect for music and movies when off-grid. Added a rear camera. I never thought I needed one, but it was prepped so the installation was easy. Now I don't know how I ever lived without it. The trailer was also prepped for the Link tire pressure monitor system. It offers peace of mind, I suppose. Hope it actually alerts me in time to avoid a wreck or damage. I added a RV pitch and roll Bluetooth level indicator system. Why did I not do this on my last trailer? This is probably the best modification of all. Since the pass-through storage is so tall, I needed to stack vertically. The wet bay tubs and Hitch supply box I built have really been a great help. I installed an entry door lock with a fingerprint scanner and keypad. Working well so far. We purchased, but not yet installed, a dimmer for the bedroom light. And last of all, the mattress. No, this is not sponsored, but the Brooklyn Bedding Signature Hybrid is all it's cracked up to be. In closing, we really love this trailer. There are some things I wish were different. However, I understand they have to keep the weight down, the cost down, and humans aren't perfect. So take everything I say beyond this with a grain of salt. It's just my little complaints. That doesn't mean I wouldn't buy the unit again. First, the bathroom exhaust fan. It was really disappointing. I had to replace that. It wouldn't even exhaust a fart. Additionally, a short person can't even reach the switch to turn it on or off. If I could go back in time, I would make a max fan with remote a condition of the sale. The vent opening in the bedroom is sort of understood. They want you to buy an air conditioner. But it wouldn't have cost them much to just make it, a fan. Oh well. It's okay. We replaced it with a max fan with remote and we're happy. The Furrion speaker bar they installed in the entertainment system sounds okay, but it doesn't have a player to play CDs or Blu-rays or DVDs, and it doesn't have an optical input on the rear of the unit. I'm not sure Keystone had a good choice here. I think the burden here is on Furrion to come up with a better entertainment system for the entry-level trailers. In the kitchen, it would have been nice to have some adjustable shelving in the cabinets. I'm not even sure why they just left these giant cabinet openings in the first place. If it's weight, then boy, they messed up big time if you can't put weight in the kitchen. If it's for cost, well, maybe I understand. The drawer pack in the island did come off. It's, repaired under warranty, so no big issue. Things happen. The outlet in the pantry is not on the inverter. That is kind of disappointing. I think, they have a maximum number of things that can go on the inverter, so I understand, but it is disappointing. The pantry door did come off on the first trip. We took it in for repair, and they said Keystone has corrected the problem on future units, so I don't think you'll see this issue if you buy one. We weren't able to find a unit that had the new style dinette with 2 chairs and the storage hutch. I think we might have enjoyed that better. I don't ever sit in the dinette area because of my size. It's just a wasted space for me. If you can find one with the other style dinette, you'd be better off. I'm extremely happy with the towability. The braking and suspension are game changers. After a year of use, nothing's ever bounced around inside, and the brakes are just freaking awesome. The front is extremely heavy. It puts a heck of a burden on your half-ton pickup. Regarding total weight, a half-ton's fine, but that rear axle rating, you got to be careful with the truck you choose. As far as what dealer you choose, that can make or break your experience. I had a really bad experience with my first travel trailer, and I went to Curtis Trailer this time, and I gotta say, they're all about customer service. The salesman understood what I wanted and just made it happen in minutes. We didn't have to haggle for several days. They gave us a fair trade and even came up with better financing. They got me into service the day after I called for warranty items, and the service representative Laura heard what I had to say. She actually QA'd the trailer herself and had them make sure things were right before she called me to pick it up. In contrast to the awesome dealer experience, I find no redeeming qualities with Keystone customer service. I tried to get specific information regarding the bedroom wiring to install the DC fan, as well as background information for the TV in the bedroom. The service representative was the opposite of helpful. I asked them to escalate, but I was told I have to have the dealer perform the installations. Boo-hoo, Keystone. I had thought a Montana fifth wheel was going to be our retirement rig. And as happy as I am with the design of this trailer, when I plan to spend 6 figures on a fifth wheel, it might be with another manufacturer. I hope this has been helpful. Leave some comments if you want me to explain anything or do another video. I'll give it a shot. I'm not making any money at this, and I'm just trying to give back to the community that helps me when I need to do something on my own. Take care. Happy trails.